On the computer. All right. Good afternoon. Good morning, actually. My name is Oda Horn, President of North Georgia Conference, United Methodist Men. We have with us today Jerry Stillabower, who is our Vice President for Conference Affairs and Administration. And Jerry is going to be talking to us today about, Jerry's a member of Johns Creek United Methodist Church, and he's going to be talking to us today about vision, values, and goals and mission concerning United Methodist Men. Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you, Odell. So as I get into this, and I apologize a little bit, but I'm still getting used to doing all this stuff in Zoom. So hopefully it'll flow fairly smoothly. But if I have a glitch or two, I'll ask for your patience to get started. So the first thing I'm going to say is that I'm going to be sharing several different documents, a presentation document, and then some others, and I'll be flipping back and forth through them a little bit. So again, hopefully that'll go smoothly and you'll be able to understand what I'm trying to present. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen, and I need to find the right document. And I need to, whoops, press the wrong button there. There we go. Sorry for the pause. So this is, I'm going to leave this, I'm not going to put this in presentation mode because I need to switch back and forth to some other documents. But basically, I want to spend the next 20 minutes or so talking about our United Methodist Men in North Georgia Conference, our vision, mission, and goals for the coming year. And the first thing that I want to do, I made this presentation back in November, and this slide is basically the same as it was. We felt like we did want to review our current mission and vision and our group goals, and take the opportunity to revise them if we need to. And I'm not saying that we need to, but we wanted to take a look at it and make that a conscientious decision rather than just an assumption that what we have is good enough to go. And I asked in November to have you all send suggestions and comments to Odell by the next executive meeting back in December. Didn't get any comments. So to some degree, we could assume that you all are satisfied with what we have. Unfortunately, when there are no comments and no feedback, we don't know for sure if that assumption is correct. So I'm going to actually ask again that if you have any feedback on our current vision, mission, goals statement, that you get, you share those with us so that we can take them into consideration. I think we need to put this to bed. So I think we're going to stay with the timeline to say that if you have comments, we'll consider them. We'd like to put this up for a vote in our January executive meeting. And if we don't do it then, we'll definitely do it by our February meeting. So we just need to move on from this. So the next part that I want to talk about is developing goals for functional positions in areas of ministry. And back in November, we suggested that these goals should support our vision, mission, and group goals that we just talked about, and that they should also definitely be based in scripture. And then we also suggested that we use the SMART goal approach, the SMART approach being a tool that can be helpful to set goals. So what I want to do now is I want to actually display the document that is our current North Georgia Conference UMM vision, mission, and goals. And hopefully I'll be able to do this without too much. Okay, so this is the actual document. And don't try to read it. I'm going to I have some slides that have this text in larger print. But this is not a bad looking document. Right. So this is actually our current goals, vision, and mission document. And I wanted you all just to see this. This is available on our website. Odell has sent it out multiple times. I've sent it out. But I just wanted, as we talk about this, for you to get a feeling for what it looks like as a document. And I suggested that we should at least update our map to show the current districts. And beyond that, I'm going to go back to my presentation, if I can do this. So that was just to give you a look at that. And then the next thing I want to show you very quickly is there is a United Methodist North Georgia Conference vision. There's both a document or a brochure that's 11 pages long. And then there's also a vision infographic. And what I want to show you is the infographic, again, just to give you a visual impression of it. And again, Odell has sent this out. So you should have a copy in your emails if you want to take a closer look at it. But I'm going to share that document quickly, if I can get that. What I do? No, that's not the document I wanted to share, obviously. This one is. There we go. And I'm just going to know how to, well, sorry, I got to move my screen around here. Just to give you an idea of what this looks like. And the fact that there's a lot of good information in here. Some of it has nothing to do with UMM. Some of it, I think we could take a look at, and for specific ministries and so on, there may be some information that could be useful. So I'm gonna actually close that. No, I don't want to do that. Cancel. So I'll minimize it. All right. Now I'll get back to the presentation. So now this is the text that's in our current vision document, so you can actually read it. And this is very broad. Again, I'm not really saying that we need to change it, but I think we ought to look at it and seriously and prayerfully consider whether we need to update it or not. And so that's your vision. This is the current mission statement. And you know, we again just, I think, need to consider whether this is where we are today and whether it needs to be updated. And this is what I'm calling our group goals. And these are very broad goals. I think our individual goals for our various missionary leads and executive positions should support these goals and be more specific. In addition, Chris actually suggested, and I think it makes sense, some of these goals could also be SMART goals for our group, as like the first and the second ones could easily be SMART goals. They're very, we can set up, when we say increase participants, we can tabulate how many we have now and then set a goal to increase that by a percentage or by a number over a period of time. It makes sense, or we can put a number in there.
No, he's telling you where we last heard you. We lost about 10 or 15 seconds of your recording.
3 could easily be SMART goals for our group. The next 2 are more broad and I think need sub goals that could be SMART goals. Particularly the last one, which deals with the 10 areas of ministry that we support. I think each of those areas should have at least one goal for this year, and ideally it should be a SMART goal. We talked a little bit earlier that it might make sense that one goal for some of these groups might be to form a a team that would support, the activities and the plans for that particular ministry. If that is one of the goals, I think we should at least strive to have one other action-oriented goal for each of these areas. So from an action plan standpoint, and this slide comes from my November presentation again, we've asked in November that each functional position and area of ministry submit your goals for 2021-22 by the end of this month, and that you use the SMART goal format, and that I suggested ministry goals from previous years could be useful if they're available. And we do have a strategic plan document out there that covered a 5-year period from, I think, 2012 or 13 to 2018. I think there were 6 or 7 of the ministries that were covered in that, and some of that could still be valid and useful in setting goals going into the future. That document also has been shared several times. What I'd like to suggest, and I did in November, is that each ministry lead and functional position report to the board when they're scheduled to report at the monthly meetings. And then I indicated back in November that we have a goal steering committee, which I'm chairing. Odell, Lewis, and Carrie are on. And we're going to keep a master list of all the goals and the progress, and add or modify the goals as appropriate. And then we'll also, there is definitely training for SMART goals, or just goal setting in general is available. And just general assistance is also available if you don't really want formal training. Several of the members of our team are fairly well versed in setting goals and using SMART goals as a tool. Relative to SMART goals, the Southeast jurisdiction has asked us to develop SMART goals. As I've already said, SMART goals is an approach and a tool to manage and achieve goals. It requires that your goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. I'd suggest that if you're new to this and you start out using this format, that I wouldn't worry too much about it being perfect or it being absolutely fitting the format. I just go for it and do the best you can. One of the other points that I want to make is that goals require ownership, leadership, and commitment to the goal, because just putting a goal down on a piece of paper just is not enough. You need to be serious about putting effort into achieving the goal once you've established it. The other thing that's important to keep in mind is that the leader of a goal can and should, as appropriate, call on other members of the team or other people outside our team even for support. These goals do not have to be or should not be Lone Ranger goals. Most goals worth doing are going to be in some way or another group goals, requiring assistance and or participation or support of some sort from others. Unless your goal, one of my goals is just getting out of bed in the morning. I suppose that's a personal goal. I sometimes feel like I do need help though. SMART goals specifically do need and require commitment to the process. Again, if you just follow the format, but you don't actually measure your results, or you don't meet your or report your timelines as the tool requires, the tool doesn't work very well. So keep in mind that it's not just filling in a bunch of paperwork. So actually what I wanted to do today was give you an update as where we are currently with our SMART goals. Odell has been doing a lot of communications and work on filling the key positions on our executive board. And he's also been doing a lot of communications around filling the district president positions that are currently open. Although we had thought Jeff would lead that goal, as he has resigned, I currently have that listed as not having a leader. Even though by default, Odell, I think, has taken the lead in that particular goal. I have taken the lead on the Speaker Bureau goal. We've sent out a lot of communications. We have several of our executive team that have volunteered to be speakers. To date, we have not had any engagements, but I will be tracking those. The actual goal I set up for us was to have at least one engagement in each of our districts across the coming year. And that's, we'd love to have more, but I wanted to have a goal that was both realistic and meaningful, and at the same time not so, like, to say we're going to have 20 or 30 or 50 engagements over the next 12 months, I thought was a stretch. Also, of course, if we don't hit every district, if we have 2 in one district and none in another, if we can have 8 this year, I think it's a good start. I also have to say that I think, and we need to keep in mind that we need to be realistic about some of our goals relative to COVID and the current environment we're living in. And I think this is one of our goals where the pandemic is making it more difficult for us to accomplish this particular goal. The other thing I want to mention is that Chris responded to our November request for goals with 7. And that is great. They are all SMART goals. You can see just by this summary list that he has put numbers in there. These are all basically annual goals. So he's expecting to complete these goals by the end of this year, and he will be reporting on a routine basis as to his progress working towards these goals. And that's just an absolute excellent example of what we can do in a ministry. I also want to say, though, that Chris has also done an excellent job building a team to support these goals, because there's no way that Chris by himself could do all of these things. But he's got a team of 15 to 20 people, very dedicated and engaged to support him in this. And he's actually delegated some of the responsibility and lead for some of these goals out to some of his team members. Even though he'll be reporting the results of all of them, he's not necessarily leading all of them. At this point, I was going to stop and ask for questions and comments, and then go around the team on the call and ask for some feedback as to where each individual stands on goals. I'm not going to do that at this point because obviously this is a recording, so I don't have audience response. But I would like to ask you all to seriously consider working hard over the next coming weeks and prayerfully think about what you can do to establish, at least, as I said, one goal for your area of ministry or for your area of responsibility, and submit that to the group. Share it with the group so we understand what it is you're trying to accomplish, so we can support you where we can, and so that you can actually understand where it is you're trying to go and what you're trying to accomplish. Try to use the SMART goal approach. Make sure it's realistic. And if you're struggling with the SMART goal approach, just come up with a goal. If it makes sense to turn it into a SMART goal, I can help. Lewis Johnson has got some training. He can help. And if not, I mean, there may be a goal out there that the SMART goal tool doesn't we don't need it. If you have a goal and you can get it done, that's the real key. That without goals, we just, sort of float around and nothing really gets done. So if you have any questions or comments for me personally, I've sent out several emails with all my contact information. Beyond that, I pretty much conclude this part of the presentation.